it's Jay, and today I am going to be showing you how I do my makeup in, a typical way, because just in my videos, I suppose. So, we're just gonna hop right into it. As you can see, I already have my hair pulled back, and I am getting my makeup out, and clearly this is a voiceover, but the first thing I do is take off my glasses so that I don't get it on my glasses, and then I make sure that I don't have anything on my eyes because I have a tendency to have stuff on them. And then I start off with my first layer of concealer, which is the kind that you dip your finger into and then put onto your eyes, not your eyeballs obviously, but your under eyelids. And as you can see, I had to readjust the camera because it was barely catching me at all. And there are a few times when that happens where you can't really see what's, happening, because sadly that's just how the camera is. But, we're just gonna have to deal with it, sadly. So, the next thing that I do is, search through my bag to actually get what I need. And next I'm going to be, applying the same concealer to other places, because silly me, I forgot to put it everywhere that I needed it. I forgot, oh wait, it's not just under my eyes that I need it. I typically put it in just anywhere that I want to cover anything up. At this point, as you can see, I can almost, do it without even looking the entire time. Because you can see I glance up at the camera a few times so that I'm making eye contact with you guys, because I don't want you guys to think that I'm not paying attention to you. And so I do pretty much have it memorized at this point because it's my own face. And then I proceed to wipe my hands off because I don't want, that getting everywhere. And then I have another concealer, which is a liquid one. And I know that I probably use more than I actually really need, but I don't tend to worry too much about that, simply because I know that it's going to be covered up with my foundation. I just have to, rub all of it in, and then, it's ready to go for my foundation. So then I take a small brush and I make small circles with the brush to blend it in and, make sure that it's not just dots on my face anymore. And it's not exactly the perfect skin tone for me because, sadly, I am way too pale to actually have it match my skin tone perfectly. I don't think there is a single one out there that would actually match the vampiric paleness that is my skin. So this is just the closest we can get, pretty much. And as you can see, I'm just working it in, because, that's kind of the most important part, is making sure it's actually, worked in and doing what it needs to do to actually cover up what it has to cover up. Because, if I just put dots on my face, that doesn't exactly cover up the bags under my eyes, that doesn't cover up blemishes, it's just dots on my face. So, I have to actually do that. And I believe that I'm almost done with it, but it does take me a while because I'm a perfectionist and I want everything to be perfect. And, I'm sorry, by the way, that I keep, looking other places than the camera. It is because it's impossible to put a mirror directly where the camera is, sadly. So this is me just kind of looking into the mirror and trying my best to stay in frame. And as you can see, I am done with that concealer and moving on to the next thing, which is foundation, because, that's important. And I tried to show it to you, but I don't know if you can actually see what I was showing you, but it is, my foundation. I use a powder foundation rather than a liquid one, because I've heard that liquid ones can do damage to your skin. I don't know if it's true. As you can see, I have way too much of it at first, but, I just, circles, work it in. That's pretty much what you do with anything that is your own skin tone. And I slowly work it into, my whole face to, give my face a good base, because it's like with art, you have to have a good canvas to work on, or the entire painting will be awful. So, you know, that's basically what I'm doing right now, is making sure that the canvas is, you know, even. And, you know, that's just what you do when you wear makeup. You tend to wear foundation, if you know what you're doing, pretty much. And I actually tended to get a lot of it, like way more than I need, and I have to slowly work on getting better about that. But now I am moving on to eyeshadow, and I actually skipped a step, because, you know, I remembered afterwards, after I'd already applied my eyeshadow, I actually forgot to put on my primer, because I normally have a primer to put on the top eyelids before I put on my actual eyeshadow, because then it actually looks a lot better that way. But, you know, this time I forgot, and that's me showing you what exact palette I will be using. I have two palettes I usually use. I tend to switch between them, and currently I'm going with the Vintage Filter from Sephora. And I, again, forgot to put the primer on, so I was actually getting a little frustrated that it wasn't all showing up as well as I wanted it to, but it was because I forgot the primer. I remembered it as I was putting my eyeliner on, and by then it was too late. So at this point I'm putting on my eyeshadow in the middle of the lower part of my upper eyelid, so not the crease right under the eyebrow, but the part that goes over the eye itself. And then what I tend to do is I pick 3 colors that go well together, a base color for in the middle, and then I pick 2 corner colors, one for the inner corner of the eye and one for the outer corner of the eye, and it sort of frames it, in my opinion. And then the corner ones typically extend up to the upper part of the brow as well, which you will be able to see very soon. And, you know, this time around, you'll see it in a minute, I actually, on the outer corner, I went a bit further out of the eye than I really meant to. It turned out well in the end, thankfully, but that was only because I managed to salvage it, and not because it actually was meant to be the way that I actually did it. But as you can see, I'm doing the inner corners currently, and I tend to do something a bit more on the bold side for the outer corners, simply because I want it to be a bit of a pop at the very end of them, and the other 2 colors are just meant to, you know, heighten the pop type of color that goes on the outer corner, which, you know, you can see very clearly here. It's a very dark color, because, you know, I'm wearing darker clothing at this point, so I decided to go with darker colors for pretty much everything, because if you wear dark and light colors together, unless it is specifically black and white, it doesn't look the way that it's supposed to, honestly, which is very, very sad, but that is sadly how it is. And as you can see, that's me, you know, realizing, oh no, I messed up a little bit, I went a little further than I meant to. But as you can see, I'm using my finger to fix it a bit. And, you know, it's okay, but we worked it out. So we'll just have to kinda deal with that, I suppose. And as you can see, I wipe off my fingers anytime I get anything on them, because I have this thing against having anything on my fingers that can get other places. And next up is the eyeliner. Most people would do mascara first, I believe, but I don't do mascara because I have very sensitive senses in my eyes, I guess. It's not that it actually hurts, I just expect it to hurt, so I am terrified of doing it. So, you know, I tend to just go with eyeliner because, you know, it works well enough, and I feel like my lashes are fine the way they are. They don't need to have mascara on them. If you want to wear mascara, you can, but I typically choose not to, simply because it's easier on me to not stress myself out like that. Putting on eyeliner is stressful enough, and then adding mascara would be about 10 times more stressful. So, you know, there's that. So I typically go with a blue eyeliner because it really goes well with my blue eyes and it really makes them pop, I've heard. That's what people have told me, at least, so I'm hoping that they're right, at least. I don't know if they are, but I hope so. And as you can see now, I'm getting out my different lipsticks because I wasn't sure yet which one I wanted to go with. Lipstick is the thing that I changed the most, and then I put them away because I remember, oh wait, I don't do lipstick yet. I still have to do blush and contour. Oh yeah. So that's what I'm doing next. I typically do a bit of like pinkish blush, and then I take from the same blush thing to do a bit. It's 3 different colors. There's pink, there's light tan, and then there's a darker brownish color. The tan is the one that I put kind of all over, and then the darker one I use for contouring, and the pink I use for my actual cheeks. As you can see, I'm looking for the brush that I use for contouring. I don't know if I actually use all the right brushes for all the right things. I just use the brushes that I have, and as you can see, I'm applying the contour now, which is one of my favorite things to do, honestly. That and lipstick are my 2 favorite parts of putting on makeup, honestly. I really enjoy, you know, applying contour and making my lips, not my lips, contour doesn't go on lips, sorry, but applying contour and making my cheeks really pop, and I really enjoy applying lipstick and making my lips pop. And as you can see, I'm wiping off the little blush thing because, you know, when you use a powder of any kind, it gets everywhere, and I was just trying to brush it off so that it wouldn't be a mess for the next time I used it. And now I'm getting out my different lipsticks because, again, I hadn't yet decided what lipstick I wanted to use. And eventually I actually decided on a lipstick I had actually gotten this exact day of recording. It was brand new, first time I had ever used it. It turned out a lot pinker than I think I realized when I bought it. As you can see, I'm wiping off my lips right now to make sure there's nothing like on them, and then I actually apply lip liner to them because I feel like lip liner really fits with the style I usually go with, as well as, you know, it helps me not mess up everything when it comes to like applying the actual lipstick. So I'm applying a lip liner now, and then I get to the lipstick, which, again, a lot pinker than I anticipated. I think I expected it to be a bit darker. It turned out well, and it looked darker with the dark, you know, the darker lip liner, because I use a black lip liner, but it was not what I expected, and it wasn't exactly the best experience I've had with any liquid to matte sort of thing. As you can see, I'm opening it right now for the first time and slightly struggling with it, but it wasn't exactly my best experience with lipstick because it had a different smell than most of the lipsticks I use, because for some reason the lipsticks I've used naturally had a good scent, and not that they were scented so much as they were pleasant smelling, whereas this one smelled almost like chlorine, and the shape of the brush applicator was a bit different than I was used to, and it gave me a little trouble as far as staying on. Though, to be fair, I did actually eat with it, and it stayed on fairly well when I was eating, but it's still, a good deal came off just from, like, touching my lips. And usually I get matte specifically because it's less likely to rub off just by touching it in comparison to lip gloss, which is, you know, slippy slidey all day long. Matte lipstick is usually a bit better about it. Like usually you are pretty good as far as whatever you want to do aside from eating. But with this one, it was like you so much as touch the lips and you have lipstick all over your hands. So I wasn't exactly a huge fan of that, but I actually really did like how the color turned out. It was pinker than I expected, and pink isn't usually a color that I go for. But it actually, the color of it turned out really well. I just wasn't sure. I was a big fan of how easily it came off on my fingers and stuff like that. But other than that, I loved the color of it, and I love how it worked with everything else. And as you can see, I'm actually drying it off now, because, you know, when you apply it, and yep, that's me just dropping everything like a total buffoon. Yeah. But, you know, you have to dry off lipstick if you apply it as a liquid, because, you know, it'll get everywhere. I thought that drying it off would help. It didn't actually end up helping that much in the end, though, sadly, because, you know, it still ended up coming off. And I'm reapplying the lip liner, just refreshing it, because I accidentally got a bit of the lipstick over top of it, and I wanted to fix it up, so this is me just fixing it. And that is, you know, my regular makeup every day that I wear. And then I put my glasses on, and I let my hair down, and I put on whatever clothes I plan on wearing. If I'm not already in the clothes, I usually get dressed first. And that is it. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like or comment. Feel free to subscribe. Check out my last video in the description down below. And other than that, I just want you to have a great day, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Bye!